What do you call two guys that were there when this happened?
Back to return at Spurlock. Michael Spurlock at the 10. He's to the 20. He's to the 25. For the 30. To the 40-yard line. We could see history. 50, 40, to the 30-yard line. Run, Michael. Run, Michael. Run, Michael. Run. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. There you go.
And that.
Shotgun set. 3 receivers left. And here's the snap, and the blitzer is picked up. Brady underneath. Caught ball. Evans. He has the record at the 11-yard line. Mike Evans becomes the first NFL player in league history to record 1,000 yards or more in his first 7 seasons and want to throw by Brady. Congratulations, Mike Evans.
Who can forget?
Gannon looking, Gannon throws up the middle. That's intercepted at the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the most valuable player in the National Football League. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Here's the snap. Mahomes running to his right. Look out. He may run. Mahomes directly. Oh, throw the end down. Battle intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world, and we still have 1:33 to go. Devin White, what a great second season. That's it for KC. Bucs are the Super Bowl champs. They can't stop the clock.
We call them the Salty Dogs.
Welcome, everybody, to the Salty Dogs podcast. I am Scott Smith.
I'm Jeff Ryan.
And we are the Salty Dogs.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Getting saltier by the minute.
Yes. Yes.
We don't have time to be salty.
No. Gosh, what a crazy week.
Are you hearing me okay? Because it sounds weird in this ear.
Is it, did I get you a bad cable? How about now?
It's good.
Is it good now?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
You going to take that out or leave it in?
What's that?
You going to leave that in the podcast or take it out?
Oh, leave it in.
Just so people can see behind the curtain?
Well, it's a short week. I don't have time to edit.
We better not cuss.
Yes, there you go.
So we are going to be, it's a short week because the Buccaneers have to play in Buffalo on Thursday night. It's nice to have a primetime audience, of course. Hopefully we do better with that than with the Philadelphia game. But it's obviously a quick turnaround for both teams, both of which are coming off a loss. I've always thought, and this isn't complaining because you're eventually on both sides of this, but I've always thought it's harder for the visiting team because half of your Wednesday is gone. Like we leave at like 12:45.
Right. So and that's the other thing. It's not like a quick flight to Atlanta or
How long
Charlotte.
is the flight?
It's 3 hours in the air. Yeah.
Better load up some movies.
So that is the. I mean, and you know it's not good on the body either. I mean not you and I, but I'm talking about the players. That's a short turnaround.
Yeah, no kidding. So they didn't even practice on Monday, which is like a Wednesday for a game like this.
And they didn't get a day off.
And they didn't they had a walkthrough today rather than a full speed practice.
Right.
And they'll travel tomorrow. So there really isn't a single full speed rep between these two games.
Yeah, this is more of film study and more of
mental and getting right, getting your body right.
Correct. Yeah, there was a thing on the dining room door that was saying what you should do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I think it was avocados and salmon is really good.
Tom Brady was right.
All this stuff that was very interesting.
For recovery?
Salmon.
Okay, well, we had that today in the dining room.
Yep, that's now you're understanding the menu.
It was pistachio crusted.
Yes, I did not have it, but I saw it. Yeah.
So, you don't have time to really – players don't have time to really dwell on the loss to Atlanta, but we do right now.
Well, yeah.
We got to talk it out. You needed one more play is all you needed. You needed one more play when we got to first and goal at the 8. We needed one more play.
But that's what games usually come down to, one or two plays.
I know.
And there was 2 plays that we needed and didn't happen.
Couldn't get it in the end zone and had to settle for the game-tying field goal with leaving them 45 seconds, so all they needed to do was get a field goal. If we had gone up by 4, they still would have had 45 seconds, but they had to go all the way to the end zone.
Right.
And with their kicker, who's awesome.
Very good.
They knew they only had to get to about the 35.
Sure, he kicked a 51-yarder.
They got to the 33. They didn't even – after they got the big Kyle Pitts play, which was the one defensive play we needed to make, after that play, they got down to like the 36, and they didn't even try – they didn't even throw the ball again. They already knew they were in his range.
Yeah.
So they just ran a couple times to kill the clock.
Well, and also to get it on wet hash mark.
Yeah, that too. So they got it up. They only gained 3 more yards. I'm sure they would have been happy to send him out there from 54. But that dude never misses. Young Wei Koo. Let's put some respect on his name.
Yeah. You talk about the Pitts catch and going over. After the game was over with, we have the privilege of going in and talking with head coach Todd Bowles on a one-on-one, and Todd's really good to us about stuff like that. And we asked about,
What happened?
TJ asked about that particular play, what happened. And it was busted coverage, and Todd said that they had practiced it 15 times.
That's incredible.
And it should not have happened, which sounds like it's a mental error.
Well, and then it happens. I mean,
yeah.
they happen. You just try to eliminate them.
And then Ronde Barber is on the coach's show this week, and he brought it up, and it was the angle, wasn't that
The angle that a defender took?
Yeah, that that was a play that needed to be made, and it wasn't. And I think that seems to sum up that game. The plays that should have happened didn't happen. And I guess that is the frustrating part, and Baker Mayfield brought it up today. The Buccaneers have played good teams, but the Bucs haven't played their good football in those games.
Yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's where the frustration starts to come is not necessarily because when they were watching tape, Dave Canales brought up that you can see where it was execution and not necessarily the scheme.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can take it, you can dissect this all the way across the board.
Well, the Devils
and Atlanta played pretty good.
Yeah. The devil's advocate side of that, though, if I'm hearing this but I'm mad at the Bucs and don't want to believe you, is to say, well, maybe they're not executing because the players on the other team are better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's what we believe.
No.
As an organization.
But in that particular moment, you would have to say yes.
I mean, the Falcons, you give them credit, of course.
Sure.
I'm sure the Falcons are up there saying, yeah, we won because we executed, and maybe that's because we're a better team. Mm-hmm. We'll find out in the long run. It'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah, well,
it's just
yeah.
Week 7.
You have
You're a half game out of first now.
6 games. You're 3-3, which is unfortunate because it would have been great to be. I mean, obviously, it would have been great. You're only 1 game difference, but 4-2, it just is so much
better.
And it is a lot better because you put people behind you.
Well, we'd be a game and a half in first if we had, because New Orleans, we got to see them lose on Thursday.
Yeah.
What's concerning is that the Buccaneers are now 1-3 at home.
Right.
Now, I don't think that indicates that we have some specific problem playing at home. I'm just saying it's lost opportunity.
Yes.
You only have 4 more home games now, and we have to play 6 road games in the next 8 weeks without a bye.
I'm trying not to look at that because we go to Buffalo on Thursday, and you kind of feel like you get a break because you have the weekend off.
Yeah.
But then we're going to Houston,
which is a pretty lengthy trip.
Yes.
And then you get a home game against Tennessee, and then it's 2 straight road games at San Fran and Indy, and then you get a game against Carolina, and then you got to go to Atlanta, Green Bay.
Yeah. And then
that sounds tough to me. I know Green Bay's not playing great right now.
No, but you're playing up there. But anyways, I think the biggest frustration, and you brought it up, is that if you're a Buck fan, you're kind of as they would say, you're angry right now. You're angry because there was, and you saw what the team could be against Minnesota, against. I thought the Saints played a good game. The Bears were kind of struggling, but you saw what the team could do. So, it gives you hope. It gives you like, hey, you know what? We can roll a little bit.
We beat the Vikings and the Bears, and you saw what they did this week.
Yeah, Vikings end up beating
San Fran.
I know.
The funny thing about this is the season starts and certain teams emerge right away, and you go, Kansas City's struggling a little bit more than they usually do. Philly's winning, but not as well as they normally do. San Francisco looks like a juggernaut that can't be stopped. Miami's defense can't be stopped. And you get here to the end of week 7, and you look at it, you know what? Maybe the 2 best teams in the league are Kansas City and Philly, who were in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, right now, if I were making a power poll, those are the 2 teams I'd start with. So it's funny how it goes like that, and then probably I'd put Baltimore third.
It is funny. Like everyone kind of goes, Kansas City's really struggling this year. They're struggling to keep racking up 6 wins.
6-1, yeah. Well, and then Detroit was everybody's darling, and they just get demolished by Baltimore.
I know. Before we even started this, we made a comment about Detroit, and who saw that coming out of a week? What was it? It was like 24-0 before. It
was 28-0 before the Lions had a first down.
That
blows your mind, huh?
Mind-boggling. Because I've watched some of the Ravens games, and I didn't see them as like a big powerhouse, but they seem to be coming together.
Look at it this way: they have a new offensive coordinator, and our friend Todd Monken.
Yeah.
They have a
good guy, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan also, which makes him a
I
really
didn't
good
know.
guy.
I didn't know that.
They have a number. They tried to pump up their pass catching core because before they were basically Mark Andrews and whatever. So they got Odell Beckham and they got who's the big new receiver they got? Oh, they drafted a guy, Zay Flowers, I think.
Oh, Flowers, yes.
And they brought in some new guys to try to give him more weapons, and you can figure it might take some time for this offense to come together. But if you watch that Detroit game, or maybe even just 10 minutes of it, you see what they're capable of when Lamar Jackson is healthy,
right,
and has people he can throw the ball to.
Yeah, and the interesting part, I think that they could have put a lot more on, and they just kind of was like, okay,
we're good.
Yeah, well, it's just which I totally respect.
Yeah. But for us, the weird thing to me, I mean, if you look at the last two games against a pretty high-scoring Detroit team, you held them to 20 points.
Yes.
Against the Atlanta team, your division rival, you held them to 16 points.
Right.
That's why it's frustrating to not come away with wins. We had just before beaten New Orleans 26-9, I think, and they hadn't given up 20 points in like a year.
Right.
So you're like, okay, this offense is coming together, and then these last two games now feel like really badly missed opportunities, both home games, and both games where the defense did well enough. But what's really weird about this defense is how they're getting it done. I mean, listen to this. The Buccaneers rank 20th in yards allowed, but 6th in points allowed, which is obviously more important, but those two usually go together a little bit better. We are first in red zone defense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We are 19th in sack rate, which isn't great.
No.
And we are dead last in third down conversion rate allowed. That does not normally go with other good defensive numbers.
No, that's weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah, because how can you be so good everywhere else?
Oh, and we're also first in turnover differential now.
Yeah, that is.
So it's red zone and it's turnover differential, but we're still giving up yards. We're still giving up first downs. We're still giving up a lot of third down conversions.
Yeah, I see third down and I think to myself, oh, they got us right where they want us. It's third down. And it is frustrating. And you can see the frustration. You great 1 and 2, third and whatever. It's not always a short third down.
We're usually pretty decent in third and intermediate. Yeah. If we're facing a 3rd and 6, I'm like, okay. We're facing 3rd and 12. I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah.
But in this last game, they had a lot of 3rd and 1s, 5 or 6 of them. And with a team that runs the ball as well as Atlanta does, and how well they were running the ball in the second half,
which is a whole other story about their running game.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stories about it.
Yeah.
Because Bijan Robinson didn't play, hardly.
Now, did you see where the league wants to know why he wasn't on the injury report?
Yeah, and, I mean, the way it's been reported is that he woke up on Sunday morning. Was it headaches? He wasn't feeling right.
I saw it as he felt weird.
Well, he said he didn't feel like himself.
Okay.
But I think people are interpreting this as he maybe had migraines or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't actually know the procedure. I know you have to add a guy on Saturday if he comes in with a new injury, or you can downgrade him or whatever if you find out he's not going to play. But do you have to report something on Sunday morning when a player walks in and goes, I don't feel good?
No, because when's the last injury report? However, if someone is not playing, usually if you get questioned and it's an injury, then they update you.
Okay, but he did play in the game. He played about 10 snaps. He had one carry, I think, at the very end of the game, or maybe 1 or 2. So he did play in the game. So I don't know what they have to answer for, to be honest with you. They played guys that did well and they won, and he played in the game.
Yeah.
If you guy in
right,
pregame warm-ups.
All I can say is it killed a lot of fantasy teams.
Yeah, well, one of mine included.
Because I know that is so important.
I know. I was thinking about that the whole game.
I know. I figured you would.
And then Cordero Patterson steps in and pretty much takes a complimentary role with Tyler Algier, and they were fine.
They did do a nice job of rotating.
I thought that because we were pretty good defensively against the run in the first half.
Right.
I thought that maybe the defense wore down in the second half.
Oh, no question, because they were on the Bucs defense was pretty much on the field the entire second quarter and almost the entire third quarter. And that will wear on you.
We did end up with positive time of possession.
Yes.
Barely, about 1 second.
But it was a lot of pounding.
Yeah, it was a lot of running.
A lot of running, a lot of pounding. So there's that. However, that being said, if you stop 3 downs or 4 downs, you're not out there as
Right.
long. So when you're giving up third downs, you're going to be.
Yeah.
It's a catch.
Well,
it's a catch-22.
which I explained to people at
Yes.
the dining table the other day.
I know. I wanted to kind of bring up stuff that we talk about during lunch. I kind of throw in there.
I think it was a relatively young audience at that table.
Very.
And we were talking about our favorite books and movies. And my favorite book of all time is Catch-22.
Right.
Which is, at this point, what was that, written in the 50s or 60s? It's a pretty old book at this point.
I thought it was written in the 70s.
I think it was 60s. It was
Really? Was it about World War II?
Yes.
Or, okay, then it would have been.
I don't know if they actually ever state that in the book. It's a very, very funny book.
Yeah.
But anyway, everybody uses the phrase Catch-22. It seemed like nobody at the table realized that came from a book.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was first published in 1961.
Oh, wow.
I don't think Joseph Heller, the author, ever had another really notable book.
But he sure had a good one.
Yeah, he got that one right.
Yeah.
A satirical war novel. That's a very good way to put it.
Wow. Like that.
So a Catch-22 is a paradox.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we were in.
And so that's what a Catch-22 means now, a paradoxical situation from which an individual cannot escape because of contradictory rules or limitations. So in the book, you can ask to be they're flying bombing missions, and they're very, very dangerous, and so nobody wants to do another one. They want to stop doing them.
Yep.
So you have to go in and you have to ask, then they ask you, you want to be discharged, and they ask you, are you concerned for your own safety in flying these missions? And if you say no, well, then you should keep doing them.
Right.
But if you say yes, that's a rational thing, so you can't be insane. Because you're trying to prove that you're insane.
Right.
You can't be insane if you are concerned for your safety on these missions, so you're rational, so no, you're not discharged. But if you say, no, I'm not concerned, I'm like, okay, then keep doing them.
Okay.
See the paradox there? You can't get out of it.
Can't do it.
Okay.
All right.
That's our book report for this week.
Nice.
Anyway, that combination of defensive statistics is bizarre.
Very.
And yeah, the third down thing, we're now at an exactly 50% rate of giving up third downs, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet still we're sixth in scoring.
Yeah.
Six. I mean, that's what really comes down to.
How many turnovers do we have? 3?
We had 3 takeaways.
Yeah.
All of them in the red zone.
And no points out of them.
No points out of them.
That's crazy.
But I mean, think about it, they're all pretty close to the goal line.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But usually, if you get 3 takeaways or turnovers,
They had 2 takeaways.
Yeah.
And didn't get
and
any
again,
points on them.
yeah. So 5 and none. That's
5 and
yeah,
no points on them is a little bit weird, but that is because both teams kept giving the ball away.
You kept thinking, oh boy, we're in trouble, and then a play happens, and
Well,
wow, it changes everything.
When it was 3-0 with about 6 minutes left, and what's his name? Desmond Ridder appears to be waltzing into the end zone to make it a 10-point game with 6 minutes. I'm like, well, that's over.
Yeah.
And Antoine Winfield makes yet another incredible play. He seems determined to prove me right in my prediction that he'd be an All-Pro first team All-Pro safety this year.
You want to hear if you want to know more about Antoine Winfield Jr., go to the Buccaneers app and Bucs Total Access, and it was last week's show with Casey and Ellie Marpet, and he talks about how he works on punching the ball out, and it's fascinating because he talked about it during the show, and then it happened in the game. And I was like, I go right back to how he was talking about how he does it and way he does it. It's really good. So
I've heard Levante talk about that kind of stuff too.
Kind of a program note there.
Plug.
Yeah.
A shameless plug.
Sure.
I mean, Winfield is finally, I think, getting the attention he deserves as one of the league's best safeties.
What you said, Todd Bowles said that he thinks he's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean,
you paused, so were you thinking Levante David?
I was thinking Levante. I was thinking about Vita Vea.
Okay.
I was just going down the list. I was thinking about Mike Evans, of course, and Tristan Wirfs.
Well, or maybe best impact player
on the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I might go with Tristan Wirfs.
You know what's nice is that you're talking about, when I say best player on the team, you've named 4 to 5 different
Got
players.
some options.
Yeah, which there were times that you and I both remembered the best player on the team was the punter. So we'll continue.
The punter is one of our best players.
He is. He's, it's funny. We were talking about that in a commercial break, how good he is.
I know.
Crazy.
It's this is the first game. This last one was the first game in which he did not have at least one 60-yard punt or more.
Yeah, it took the Sunday off.
Well,
it's
but
crazy.
I think it was more situational. He still had a 45-yard net, which is great, with no touchbacks and one inside the 20. So he got the job done.
Yeah.
But to put that in perspective, he's already got, I think, 8 punts of over 60 yards, including several over 70.
Right.
And our opponents don't have a single 60-yard punt this entire season.
Right.
That's the kind of gap we're talking about.
Sure.
Now, if you punt it that far and it's kind of low, then it's often not terribly successful because the return man has a lot of time to build up speed before your cover guys get there.
Right.
Lots of times, though, he booms them long and high. And then sometimes there's coverage breakdowns. So he's first in the league in, we're talking about Jake Camardo, we should probably say his name.
Yeah.
He's first in the league in gross punting average, but he's not first in net because a few times, they've been way outkicked the coverage, as they say. And then a few times there's been coverage breakdowns. Anyway, we got sidetracked onto punting there.
Well, just because of I think that's what's frustrating, that there are good players on the team and it hasn't gelled all the way. That's the problem.
Think about the fact that Winfield, remember, in addition to the play we were just talking about, an unbelievable hustle play, forces the fumble that goes out of the end zone, so it's a touchback and ball to the Buccaneers. Earlier in the game on a 3rd and goal, Ritter threw it up to Drake London, who's probably got about 6 or 7 inches on Antoine, and Antoine had his back to the play. And a lot of times, a big receiver like Mike Evans in that situation, he's just going to pluck it out of the air over your defender, and your defender is helpless. Somehow Antoine got his hand in there because he's one of these guys who's really, I bet he's had to work on it very hard. But, defensive backs try to learn when their back is to the quarterback and they're trailing the receiver, they're watching his hands, and that's why a lot of receivers try to wait to the last second to throw their hands up. And as soon as he throws his hands up to get a catch, they try to put their hand in between it. And Antoine did that notably in the New Orleans game on that deep ball to Chris Olave.
Who, by the way, was arrested for speeding.
You're only bringing that up because it's the Saints.
That's right. That's right.
With that play, the Drake London play, and then the punch-out play, probably most, without Antoine Winfield on the deep field, that's 14 points.
Yeah.
And instead they only get 3.
Right.
And that's how the Bucs were in the game.
Yeah.
That's the only reason the Bucs were in the game. Antoine Winfield was the reason the Bucs were in the game at the end.
Right.
Mike Evans had a little bit to do with it as
That
well.
was, we're talking about, you have to admit, that was a sweet 60-yard pass,
40,
touchdown,
I think,
40.
Yeah.
It
was great. Beautiful pass.
What's funny is we've seen that a lot in practice, and we finally seen it in.
Well, we saw it. It's at least twice this year.
Yeah, but there are a couple that we missed, and so you're so used to seeing it happen, and that's because the coaches were talking about how good practices are, and people kind of roll their eyes and go, really. But you and I have seen it and watched it, and went, well, okay, this looks pretty good.
Well, the great thing is, so before the game during the week, I was asking one of our personnel guys about how they use their corners. And he said in the past, A.J. Terrell, they've used him to shadow. A.J. Terrell's considered one of the better young cornerbacks in the league.
Right.
They didn't know if they were going to shadow Mike. By that I mean wherever Mike lines up, Terrell covers him. He moves to that side.
Right.
And that's what they were doing with him. It turned out in the game they were shadowing him, and Mike Evans cooked him. I mean, 6 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. And at least 3, I can think of 3 off the top of my head, 3 defensive penalties against Terrell because he kept having to grab onto Mike. So there was 2. There was a pass interference and 2 defensive holdings.
Yeah, but you know what? And you brought this up. It was kind of smart on Atlanta, like, I'm going to just get the penalty for 5 yards and we'll just keep, And,
well, they do that.
But I didn't. Yeah, I was thinking about that after you said it, and I was like, dang, he's right. Look how many times that happened. It was like, I'm totally beat. Okay.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
Well, Marshawn Lattimore did that on one play, too. And then he threw up his hands and like, what, me? I mean,
you have to do that. Yeah. You have to play the role of the victim. You're the victim. Why are you picking on me?
Every corner in the NFL now does 2 things. The throwing up the hands, who me when they get a penalty called on them, no matter how blatantly obvious it was. Then the whole, if they're near the play and it falls incomplete, the whole, waving the arms no good.
Yeah. Well, you can, I don't know. I don't think you're really influencing anybody, but you have to wonder because there's a lot of meetings during, after a flag's thrown. So you just
a couple of them got picked up. That's so irritating.
Well,
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just irritating.
I'll say this. If you throw the flag and then you're discussing it, why did you throw the flag to begin with?
I suppose the theory is that the official who threw the flag believes he saw something.
And then I convince you're not seeing what you saw?
Well, maybe it could be 2 or 3 of the other officials saying, no, we both saw it differently.
Fair enough. All
but
right.
it's still, when it goes against your team, it's really frustrating. Don't you think?
Not that it's happened much with us, but yeah, it's very frustrating. But you can't, I always remember what Tony Dungy has always said. It's, don't let the referees decide your game. Play your game. I mean, which I've always remembered that, and I totally respect it.
I don't think there were any calls that. I mean, there were flags that we definitely committed that really hurt the cause, like false starts and so on.
See, now those are unacceptable penalties. Those are unacceptable penalties for a team,
especially when it's the receiver. Just look at the ball.
Yeah. Yes.
Those are frustrating.
Actually, and Robert Hainsey, I really like. He's a really good guy. But I had to laugh on the penalty where it said offsides on everyone but the center. Now,
so he got the
if you're the center, if you're the center, you didn't get the penalty. But it was your fault. The reason why everybody. But it was just it's been a long time since I heard.
Who did they give that penalty to?
I thought it was offsides. Everyone.
But that's not how penalties officially work.
But that's how
say that. But
that's what he said. He said the offensive line.
I'm clear that's what he said. But they never in the history of time have put that in an actual play.
Okay, what does it say?
Well, I don't know when the play happened.
Who are they going to blame? I like to know who they're going to blame.
Well, talk about something while I look at this book.
I have to keep everything going.
This one was Matt Filer.
Yeah.
I don't know which play it was.
I know. Yeah.
Do you remember what quarter it was in?
No.
There was one on Trey Palmer.
Right.
No, they called it on Hainsey.
Did they call it on Hainsey?
The guy said it that way, but then I guess up in the stats booth they have to decide who's at fault.
Yeah, because he was the only one that didn't know the snap count.
It was a false non-start.
Yeah. But it was funny. I mean, not in a nice way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sometimes the officials just say things. Like up in the press box when they explain, okay, so we didn't talk about the other crazy play near the pylon, the one that was reviewed, and we challenged it. When they came back and the official got on the mic and explained it, generally the inside PA guy will then announce inside, the ruling is blah, 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 and the guy goes, and the ruling on the play is everything that guy just said. And everybody in the press box laughed.
Well, that's true.
That play was nuts, wasn't it? That was Drake London trying to get to the end zone.
And it looked like he touched the pylon, but he didn't.
Well, the key to it was that his fingertips touched the
outside. Yeah.
So
now we were watching that, but I didn't see any of the little. I didn't see any dirt come up.
The guy I was sitting to felt sure that he did see, and this was a guy that wanted the Bucs to win the game.
Yeah.
He thought he did see something come up.
Yeah. See, I didn't think I saw.
But if you wave your fingers really close to blades of grass, won't they also move? Possibly.
Well, they should.
If you if you didn't see
if you're just touching the blades of grass, yes. If you're touching the dirt and the blades of grass, you would see dirt. So yes, if you're touching just the top.
So
yeah,
the Drake London gets flipped by Winfield. I think he's also trying to dive towards the end zone.
He was.
So he ends up like straight vertically with his hands pointing down to the ground. He's in the air and he's falling. And you can see him start to lose the grip of the football. And then when he hits the ground, I mean, the first thing that hits is the ball. And it bounces out. And then you can't tell if it went over the pylon or not. And so the Bucs challenge officially was, because they called it a touchdown originally, and then they changed their mind and spotted it at the 1. But in neither case did they say it was a fumble.
Right.
Because the Bucs were hoping that it would be ruled a fumble and then that it would be a touchback because maybe it bounced and nicked the pylon.
Yeah.
Well, so the challenge the Bucs had, as it was announced, was they were challenged the ruling of there not being a fumble. But in the end, that's not what the ruling ended up being. The ruling ended up being that his fingertips touched out of bounds, so the play was dead there
before it got to the pylon.
fumble.
Yeah.
I personally, and here's the problem. In most of these ones that are really, really close, they'll say the ruling stands if they don't have overwhelming evidence to change the call.
Correct.
So if you're looking at this going, I don't know if you fumbled it or not, so I'm going to leave it at the ruling, which was no fumble.
Right.
But that wasn't what the ruling ended up being. The ruling was whether or not he touched the ground.
Right.
And that had not been ruled on before. So the guy couldn't just go, okay, we originally ruled that he touched the ground. I can't tell, so I'm going to let it stand. He actually had to decide. See what I'm saying?
Correct.
This wasn't I have to let it stand or not stand. The guy had to decide whether or not the fingertips touched the ground.
Yeah.
So he must have felt like the guy sitting next to me thought that the fingertips did. And it wasn't even like they poked into the ground. They just kind of waved right by because he wasn't trying to touch the ground.
Brushed.
Yeah, so I would think that probably they got that one right. But it was pretty crazy.
It very. And it took a really long time. Really, really, really long time.
Well, again, that's because they couldn't just say, let the play stand. They actually had to decide what they were seeing. Did he touch the ground or not?
Right. Well, that's why you have instant replay, and that's the good part about it. It may not go your way, but I do like instant replay.
They definitely got the one that Winfield, Winfield, the one that they did give us the touchback on.
Yeah.
That one was pretty easy.
That's still...
What a play.
I still can see that play, and it just amazes me. And talk about a turn of events. Whoa. Yeah. And then it was almost like all of those different little things, I got to the point where I was like, Bucs are going to win this game. It's just the cards are that way.
Really? Okay.
All right. But 8 yards got in the way.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It was funny because I have a former colleague that we used to work here that we keep in touch with, Chris.
Oh, okay.
And he and I always commiserated in the press box about a couple things, or one in particular.
Well, with you and Chris, it could be numerous things. But continue.
Well, you're salty too.
Well, I know, but you guys are coming up real fast.
Okay, so I think I've probably talked about this before because it's kind of a pet peeve, but I think that the defensive holding call on defensive backs is too punitive.
Yes.
Because it's an automatic first down.
Right.
It's constantly bailing out offenses who get to 3rd and 15, throw a ball over here to the right, has no chance of being a success.
Right.
It's a great play by the defense, but because the corner on the other side grabbed the guy for a second, they throw a flag over there. And why not just give him 5 yards and make it 3rd and 10? You're still helping. Give him another shot. Why is it an automatic first down?
How about a spot file?
Well, that's just pass interference then.
Okay. Well, that's true.
I mean, if it's farther than the line to
scrimmage,
than the line to gain.
Yeah, I agree with you that is very frustrating.
I kind of feel like there should be two. Like there's how there's running into the kicker,
which I never understand. It's a 5-yard penalty, but it's a first down. But if there's a false start on the offense, it's 10 yards. Why wouldn't it just be 5?
False starts are 5. Holding's 10. False starts are 5.
Okay.
But still, it's all of a sudden it's 1st and 15.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's still first down. You did commit a penalty.
Well, that's true.
No, it's kind of like how you have running into the kicker and roughing the kicker.
Yeah. And that's a judgment call.
They used to have 2 different types of face mask penalties. One was 5 yards, one was 15.
Yeah, one's intentional.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
But they still do have the difference between running into and roughing the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Can't they have 2 different kinds of defensive holding? One that, like, if Mike Evans runs out here and he's trying to run an out, and it's perfectly thrown ball, and it would have probably been a completion, but the defender held him on his cut before the ball was thrown. Otherwise, it's pass interference.
Sure.
And the play's going right to him. Okay, maybe that should be an automatic first down because the penalty kept us from getting the first down. But if it's defensive holding on the other side of the field that had nothing to do with how the play was going, can't we have a different kind of penalty, maybe defensive obstruction or something? That's only 5 yards, but not an automatic first down.
Not playing nice.
But it's funny because that rule, and then the rule that I think a majority of the NFL fans hate, it doesn't really bother me for some reason. I don't know why everybody hates this rule so much, but is the fact that you fumble the ball out of the into and out of the end zone is a touchback. You give it, the ball goes to if you fumble the ball out of bounds anywhere not in the end zone, then you just retain the ball where it went out of bounds.
Right.
But if you fumble it into the end zone and then it goes out of the end zone, you lose possession of the ball.
Yeah.
That's the way the rule is. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest with you. I almost feel like if you're fumbling as you're trying to score,
that's your penalty.
yeah, I mean, you should. Sorry, bro.
It's bad enough. It's not. You want to inflict major pain.
Yeah.
Not only did you fumble it, but you gave the ball
But
back.
it's funny because a lot of people probably feel the way I do about the defensive holding being too punitive, and then also think that rule is dumb. But it was kind of, they both went in our favor in that game. So.
Yeah, so I kind of like that rule
you know
this
what?
week.
Maybe it's okay this week.
Yeah, this week it's good. Well, that's always true, depending on where you're at. If it's against you or for you, you get excited that, all right, good, we're getting a first down when it was 3rd and 15.
I liked that Coach Bowles went for it on that 4th and 6.
So did I.
So did I. Started to send the punting team out and then changed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
It did not succeed.
No.
And it's important to judge the decision based on if you think it was a good decision and not the outcome of the play.
Right.
And I think it was the right thing to do. It didn't help that Atlanta then took a short field and got their only touchdown drive of the game, of course. So I'm sure there are others who do not agree with it. But I like the fact that we hadn't scored a touchdown in the first quarter all season.
Right. And you're trying to set a tone, and it's early in the game.
said he
And if
wanted
you're
to be
not
aggressive.
right, you've got time. It's not
Yeah.
like it's the fourth quarter,
Right.
3 minutes to play, and you do it.
You don't want to give them the ball at midfield
Right.
when they're 3 points down.
Yeah.
But you have all the time. Hopefully, you get the stop. We
Sure.
didn't. But then you've got plenty. And in fact, they did respond on the very next drive and tied the game on.
up.
By the way, Mike Evans' touchdown catch was his 85th.
And now?
Not everybody knows that he actually has 86 touchdowns because he has one on a fumble recovery when a teammate fumbled in the end zone.
Right.
But he has 85 touchdown catches, which now puts him in the top 20 all time.
What's he, 18th now?
He's tied for 18th.
Yeah. Which
And-
is pretty phenomenal.
One more and he'll tie for 17th, although that's Jimmy Graham, so it's possible Jimmy Graham could get more, but
Sure.
he's only got one touchdown all year.
Okay.
And 2 more he'll tie for 16th.
When does he get to top 10?
Yeah, there's a bit of a jump.
Okay.
He's
got to make a leap. Like he gets like 3 more and he makes a big leap. Is that it?
3 more would be little incremental leaps.
All right.
But there's a point there, I'll get into it here in a second, where there's a gap of like 9 more between one spot and another.
Nice.
So let's see here.
So he can make it happen.
Well, probably not getting the top 10 this
And
year.
I thought Mike had a really good game. People were starting to get
I already
on
said
him.
that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm reiterating that, a couple of drops in the Lions game, and
Oh, yeah, he's had a few drops
people
this
were
year.
giving him a hard go, or there was a lot of conversation, and he just doesn't listen and comes out and makes some pretty fantastic plays.
Well, he knows how good he is. He doesn't have to listen to the noise.
No, he's Mike Evans. He knows what he does.
And if he drops the pass, he owns up to it.
Sure, it moves on, right?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the funny part is when people go, you should have caught that, and it's like a receiver's going, really? Like,
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, really? I'm supposed to catch it? I didn't understand.
I didn't think it was that important in the moment, so I didn't try real hard. And whatever.
Well, he threw it too hard, and it. But you know, at one time, this is true that they used to say Doug Williams threw the ball too hard.
Did they?
They would say, he just throws the ball too hard. And you think about that type of reporting now. I mean, are you ever going to hear that again?
No.
But you can. That was in the 80s.
So right now he's tied for 18th with 85 touchdown catches with Lance Allworth, Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
Hines Ward,
Yeah.
and Paul Warfield, Hall of Famer.
Wow.
One more, and he would tie Jimmy Graham for 17th. It would be really cool if he got 2 touchdowns in this game because he would tie for 16th place Andre Reed,
Not only
the Bills Hall of Fame.
Yes, and not only would it be really cool, it would mean
It would
that
help.
they scored 14 points, and that would be very exciting.
Yeah. It would be our best point total of the last 3 games.
We are getting salty.
Okay, so one more to get to 88 would tie him with Hall of Famer Don Maynard at 15th.
Okay.
Now, Devontae Adams can raise his total, but if Devontae doesn't get any more between now and then, Mike would need, from now where he's at now, 5 touchdowns to get to 14th place.
Okay.
With Devontae Adams.
So how many does he need to get to the top 10?
Getting there. When he gets to 91, that'll be tied for 13th with Isaac Bruce. When he gets to 92, he'll be tied for 12th with Rob Gronkowski. And then here's the jump that means it's not going to happen this year, almost certainly, unless he goes absolutely nuts.
What you got?
Because the jump from 12th to 11th is 7 more, 99.
7 from the 12th position or 7 more total?
So Rob Gronkowski has 92 and is in 12th, and Don Hudson has 99 in 11th. To get to the top 10, he has to get exactly 100 touchdowns. So he needs 15 more. That's why I'm saying it's probably not happening. It's not
this year.
Impossible, but it's very unlikely.
If it happens this year,
we'll probably be in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're really on a roll. Hey, let's keep that thought. I say yes.
Now, the problem with getting into the top 10, which would probably happen maybe next year, is that Devontae Adams is still active and is ahead of him. So if he gets in the top 10, then you got to go a little bit farther.
Right.
Anyway, Tim Brown, who played a few games for the Bucs, and Steve Largent are tied for 9th, so top 10, with exactly 100 touchdown catches. Right. And Mike only needs 112 more to catch Jerry Rice.
Wow.
Jerry Rice.
Jeez.
Well, were you there at the table today? No, I don't think you were.
I wasn't, but I did see Jerry Rice on TV.
No, it was one of the guys at the table said, who's the best non-quarterback player in NFL history? What would you say to that?
I'd say Jerry Rice has to be up there.
My first answer was,
non-quarterback.
The Giants pass rusher.
The Giants. Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. That was my first answer. My second answer was Jerry Rice. Okay. And my third answer was Reggie White.
Oh, but you wouldn't say Barry Sanders?
I did eventually say that.
Yeah. Walter Payton?
Well, I mean, you might as well just pick one running back.
Well, that's true.
If they're the best player, then they're the best running back.
I see what you're saying.
I think Barry Sanders is the best, but a lot of people would say Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith.
But that was a different – and that's the hard part about comparing different eras of sports, because the game's changed so dramatically. And also, in fairness to Jim Brown, he only played 14 games a season.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And maybe 12 to begin his career.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To talk about how the game has changed, how about look at interceptions by a defender? Do you know what the record for interceptions in a season is?
10.
Oh, come on. That's the Bucs record. Rondé Barber had 10 in 2001.
Well, I'm stuck in the Bucs.
The record is, it's not as high as I thought it would be.
What is it?
It's 14.
Oh, okay.
But that was by Night Train Lane, not our Night Train Lane.
No, not Ronnie Night Train Lane.
The
Detroit Lion guy?
He played for the Rams.
Oh, okay.
Way back in 52.
Wow. I mean, if you had that many in 52, they weren't throwing the ball very often.
But they threw a lot more interceptions per throw.
So, in other words, it was mostly a running team, and when they threw, they were bad. They were ill throws.
So 11 or more interceptions in a season have happened 28 times by a single player.
Right.
Exactly one of those is later than 2000. Trevon Diggs of Dallas did it 2 years ago. He had 11. So you see what I'm saying? It's all, in fact, in 80. If you make little noises like that, you're still entertained.
Is that what it is?
In fact, that's the only one since 1980.
Wow.
There's been some more recent 10 interception season like Rondé's.
43 years later?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Very.
So, and interception totals, like remember Vinny threw 35 interceptions in a single season.
Yeah.
They used to throw a lot more interceptions.
Right. Jameis Winston threw 30 in a season, too.
That was an anomaly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? I'd like to see us get a few interceptions against Josh Allen on Thursday night.
He's thrown 7 of them.
He has.
That's average of 1 a game.
That's an interesting football team.
I didn't like the way a question was posed
about
Baker today to coach. When he said you're starting to see him throw interceptions in every game.
Oh, yeah.
He's played 6 games for us. In the first 2, he didn't throw any interceptions. In each of the last 4, he's thrown 1. That's not great. I mean, I'd rather have 2 than 4 now. But one of those, you recall, was the tip ball.
Oh, right.
So that's a fluky one. This one definitely, I think, was a bad decision, the one in this game.
No question.
Because Rashad White was wide open underneath. Yeah. And would have caught the ball and ran to at least as far as where Cade was.
Problem was he got locked in on Chris.
Cade.
Or rather, Cade. And then, but that was an ill throw. And Baker said it was afterwards,
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, he said he made it.
It's easy for us to go, why did you throw it there? You should have thrown it here. But we're not the one being chased around.
Well, the funny thing, if you watch the play, lots of times quarterbacks throw passes that when the ball is released, the player's not yet open, but he knows where he's going.
Right.
And that must have been what he thought, because if you watch the play, it's like it doesn't look at any moment like
That
Cade
he's-
is open.
right.
The defender's on him. It wasn't the defender that actually intercepted the pass. That was was it Jesse Bates? It was some safety.
It was Bates.
Or was it Richie Grant?
Either way.
In case that guy cut behind the play.
Falcon intercepted the play.
But the guy covering Cade never really lost tight coverage on him. But it must have looked to Baker like Cade was becoming open.
Yeah.
And he tried to throw to that spot. But it was a poor decision, particularly because Rashad White was wide open for a dump off.
They're all waiting for Baker to go south. I mean, he started out strong, not as strong in the beginning of the year in the second quarter here of the season, but still 2 games left, so who knows what's going to come about.
I still like his total body of work so far.
You know what? I do too. And I like his attitude, and I like how he answers it. And
the team likes, the players like him.
Right. All of those things. And he takes responsibility. He's not pointing fingers. He's not blaming anybody else. He's taking that and putting it on his shoulders. I've heard this from numerous people, and I heard it again. Rodney Barber brought it up, that Baker plays best when everyone's dissing him. The old chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's when he's the best. And I thought it was interesting today when he said, when they were saying, well, the Bucs are 2-0 on the road, and what do you think about that? And Baker goes, I like being on the road because it's my teammates and me, and we're against everybody.
Yeah.
We're against the fans, the other team, all of that. So I kind of like that attitude. So hopefully that's a catalyst, and then maybe we can get hot at home.
Did you see? We've been talking about how the Bucs committed too many penalties, but the Falcons committed a lot of penalties too.
Yeah, there were a lot of penalties in that game. Period.
Did you see the imbalance in the Eagles-Dolphins game?
No.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this.
It's an observation.
Philly got the Dolphins were flagged 10 times, and the Eagles 0. That's about as big as disparity as I've ever seen.
Well, the Eagles are really good.
Well, no,
they don't hold. They nothing. No. I mean, seriously, if you're throwing 10 flags on one team and the other team, then the Dolphins must have been really very obvious penalties, because I've never seen that before. Don't click your pen.
I did turn my fan off.
I know you did.
You didn't tell me to.
No, but I knew I was hearing something.
Yeah, I was too.
I was like, what is that noise? And I wasn't going to start over, so.
It's kind of like an NBA game where one team gets to the free throw line like 30 times and the other team gets their 5, and they're complaining. After the game, they're showing the stats and they go, look at this.
Yeah.
They had 30 free throws. We had 5. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Well, maybe their players were doing a better job of driving to and drawing these fouls.
Well, see, I was playing a fan. I was a little salty driving home after the game, and actually stopped and got pizza and decided I was gonna,
From where?
I was gonna Tampa Pizza Place.
I never heard of it.
It's very good.
Is it in West Chase?
Yeah.
Okay.
I decided that I was going to have some comfort food. And
pizza?
So, pizza was my comfort food. It was my go-to comfort food.
Okay, well, it is awesome.
It is. It's very good. And
we probably shouldn't have given that pizza place free
not.
advertisement.
I don't think I got the name right, so don't worry about it. I'm horrible at knowing, where is that? I don't know. It's just here. I go in. I go, hey, give me my pizza. I'm out of here.
I like your pizza.
Yeah, your pizza is really, really good. Pricey, but very, very good. So anyways, get home. Flip the TV on. The only game I'm seeing is the Kansas City game, so I decided to watch that. So I'll have a couple beers, watch it.
The Taylor Swift game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I was in country music, so she started in country music.
Did, yes.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you that she came around when she was like 16, when they were trying to launch her career? Ever tell you that?
What do you mean came around?
Came around the radio station, got to meet
Where
her.
you were working?
Yeah, and that was like when she was like 16 years old.
Weren't you already here in Tampa?
Yeah.
Oh, it was here.
I worked at a country station here.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I was doing Bucs,
What
it was
a
a
terrible
country
decision.
station.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I'm watching the Kansas City game, and I became a fan of just watching the game. And there was a play where it looked like it was a fumble. I thought it was a fumble. They did a review, and it wasn't a fumble. And I'm yelling at the TV, of course it's not a fumble. It's because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. If it would have been anybody else, that would have been a – and then I stopped and I realized
You're one of those.
I'm one of them. I'm being a fan right now. And you know what? It was great. It was
You enjoyed being a fan?
I did, because you know what? After the game was over with, it didn't matter to me who won or lost.
Well,
it
right.
didn't affect my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I got kind of on
They
it.
played. Who were they
Sidetracked.
playing? Who was Kansas City playing again?
I can't remember.
Well, see,
I can't
I'm
remember.
just wondering if it was an NFC team.
Was
that
it the
could,
Chargers?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, the Chargers.
Yeah, because they played well in the first half, but
they
couldn't
were,
score in the second
correct.
half.
They were in it, and I was thinking, oh, this could be good, but Kansas City's a good team. I'm just
That's what we. That's how we started this show.
If you don't know it, they're good. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So.
Okay, what else you got?
Well, one thing of note is that maybe for the first time this year, we didn't win the sack battle. We didn't have a pause. We didn't have more sacks than they did. We got 1, they got 3.
Right.
It's the most sacks that Baker's taken in a game in 3, and that's not that bad.
No.
Unfortunately, a couple of them came at really bad times, particularly the last one that made us have to kick the tying field goal.
Yeah. Well, what you're going to do if he threw it, if it was incomplete, if he threw an incomplete pass, you're still kicking the field goal.
I was the one defending that outcome at lunch today because somebody was like, he's got to throw that. I'm like, well, he was trying to stay alive in the pocket long enough for somebody to come open.
Right.
Never found one. Then suddenly felt pressure, tried to escape, but there was another guy there. And so he took the sack but didn't fumble or didn't throw an interception.
Thank you.
Right.
Because what's the thing if he throws it and his interception? What's the first thing everybody goes? Oh, you just
can't throw the ball there.
You take the sack.
You take the sack and you get the game-tying point. So every quarterback should be thinking in his head that on this play, I can't turn the ball over.
Right.
I really want to touch him, but I can't turn the ball over.
And he did not.
Right.
So, yes.
So it was really good coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So give them credit. And
They played very good man.
did they?
Yes.
Not A.J. Terrell and Mike Evans.
No, but all you had to do was hold him, and then you got 5 yards, and you were good to go.
Yeah.
So.
There's some stuff from around the league we could touch on. Did you see that the suspension for Kareem Jackson?
I saw it, but I don't know what it was for.
It was for a hit, a really bad flagrant hit that got him ejected.
Yeah.
That's Denver, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what I find interesting now, too, is that they list all the fines now. And interesting enough, looking at that, there were no fines in the Bucs-Lions game. And I
Saw that.
And I thought that I thought there would be a fine when Baker got hit off.
They didn't even call it. They didn't even flag it.
They didn't flag it, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
They didn't flag it means you're not going to get a penalty.
Well,
yes, if they don't flag
it
it, you don't
does
get a
mean that.
penalty. But you can still be fined even though there wasn't a penalty on the play.
Yeah, so Jackson has had several penalties for really bad. I mean, the kind, and as they described it in the letter to him, it was like you had an opportunity to make this play safely and you chose not to. It's because he just comes it's full on helmet to helmet, defenseless player.
And he leaves his feet.
Yeah, it's everything you're not supposed to do.
Right.
And he's done that a couple times this year, so I guess the league finally said enough's enough because you don't normally see guys get suspended for 4 games for a flagrant hit.
Right.
They get ejected from the game, but suspended for 4, that's a statement right there.
Yeah, usually when you get ejected from a game and then you get hit with a hefty fine, you have a tendency to adjust your technique.
Yeah.
You know,
he better figure it out.
Or your coaching staff is talking to you about adjusting what you're doing because we can't afford to not have you on the field.
Or they're talking about adjusting whether or not you're on the roster because we're not going to can't have this.
Well,
but he's a really good player, so
yeah.
they wouldn't.
Well, they don't have to worry about him being on the roster now because the league decided you're not on the roster. So
for 4 games,
For 4 games, which can be pretty crucial.
There was a call. There was a hit in that Saints game because I remember sitting on my couch Thursday night watching it. It was one of those where it was a bad hit. Oh, it actually was. It was an accident. It was two players on the same team running into each other, kind of like what happened to Levante.
Sure.
And it was so bad that it made me go, oh, like when you see that big hit.
Yeah.
That's why the NFL used to put together highlight reels of that until they realized it's hypocritical.
Well, they used to run it on Monday Night Football.
Oh, okay.
You know how they had the
biggest hits?
The biggest hits, yeah.
Sorry, I was clicking the pen again.
Yeah. We're not allowed to do that. We used to do the hit of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no more.
But the funny thing about that one is they kept showing the replay, and it made me exclaim every time. It's like I've already seen this 3 times, and I'm still going, oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember the specifics. What I do remember from that game, or I remember because I wrote it down, Didn't that game come down to the Saints having a shot to get the ball in the end zone? At the
Yes,
end?
and they dropped the ball. Had he caught the ball, it would have been.
Oh yeah, the tight end.
Yes,
but then they had one more play after that.
Yeah,
and it was amazing to me because on 4th and goal, your last possible chance to tie the game, and they call a fade.
Yeah.
Don't people know by now? Don't coaches know by now that that's actually a very low percentage play?
I didn't know this. Apparently.
Well, you've seen enough fade passes
I
to know they're hard.
Apparently, Dennis Allen didn't either.
It was an attempted fade to Chris Olave. Now, on one hand, I give him credit. They decide we have to have a play. We're going to our best receiver.
Sure.
But it was just a fade, and it was easily covered and incomplete. Nothing that looked like a penalty or anything. I think you got to run a play where your quarterback has some options.
Right.
On 4th and goal.
Yeah.
And I just don't think a fade. It's just too low percentage of a play when it's do or die.
I'm glad.
Run the fade on 1st down, especially if you have a guy like Mike Evans, because then you still got some shots.
Right. I'm glad they called it.
I am too, but I thought it was a terrible call.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun part when it's not your team. You can view those.
And we can come right out and say terrible play
terrible.
call. I've said it many times. You know that I don't really like.
I don't like the second guess play calls
because it's generally all you're doing is saying you don't agree with the results.
Well, yes, and the other side is if you go, I don't like that play. Well, you don't know what that play was because you don't know who was supposed to do what and when.
I mean, if it's 3rd and 1 and you hand off and they don't get it, you can say I don't like us doing that.
Right.
It's fair for a fan to say that.
Right, but if you do that and the line pushes forward,
I know, but
kind of like the Philadelphia,
the brotherly shove.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like it better than the
tush push.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah, I see what their head coach says that they don't look at it like it's 1st and 10. They look at it it's 1st and 9.
Yeah.
Thought that was he's kind of getting a little over the top.
He's getting a little salty with it.
Yeah. But hey, listen, when you're able to do it and no one else is, you get bragging rights. So fair enough.
I did see another rule, or lack of a rule that I hate, that I think I brought up before, but I'm going to harp on it again. Myles Garrett.
Okay.
Jumped over the center on a field goal and blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
I totally think that should be illegal.
Why? He didn't touch.
I know, but you're saying, and it's a player safety thing, that's why they don't want him to do that, and that's why they get penalized if they touch the guy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but he's still doing the act that could lead to what?
Landing on someone?
Landing on him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should be. Now, they do say you can't run up and jump, or people are doing it all the time. So
it says free jump.
You got to be an incredible athlete to be able to do it. And obviously, Myles Garrett is an incredible athlete, and it's within the rules, so I don't have a problem with him doing it. I think that play should be outlawed. I just think it's wrong.
I bet you Tristan Wirfs could jump like that.
Yeah, he could jump
out of the pool. If he can jump out of a pool, I bet
he
could do that.
Could.
Maybe
we should put him on field goal block.
I think maybe I should bring this up. I think so.
I guess I wonder if that's a 5-yard penalty if you touch the guy, because you better not do it. You better not try it if it's. I don't know.
Don't you remember when Simeon Rice did it? So
no, he didn't leap over the guy.
No, I thought he touched the guy.
Yeah, he was called for leaping, but he leaped straight. He leapt straight up and only touched his teammate. That was a terrible call.
Yeah.
We didn't like that.
No, we didn't.
That was in the game we don't like to talk about, yet somehow we're not talking about all the time.
No, we're not going to.
I have another note here for you, because we talked last week about Olympic flag football.
Oh, yes.
You have some information, because we were just wondering, like, who's going to play?
And
what did you end up finding?
I found that it was on Pro Football Talk. I don't like to give credit a lot of times, but I will. They brought it up, but I thought he must have been listening to the Salty Dogs because I brought it up first, that there are pro players that are discussing how they want to do that.
Really?
And then the question is, how does that play into contracts with guys?
Well,
all of those.
So you're saying
things.
they're active players right now?
Yeah, that are saying they would love to do it.
A lot of players who are active in 2023 won't still be in the league in 2028.
No, but there are players that feel like they will be in 2028 that they would play.
Okay, so
but I think it's going to be more former players personally.
You think it'll be former NFL players?
Yes.
Not people who specifically
are on a team,
played flag football for the last 5 years or something.
No.
The NFL players are just going to step in and go, well, we're the best.
I think so.
Football players.
So. I think so. I really do.
Do you think that there is a world in which there are people out there that could be better at flag football than some NFL players would be at flag football? Like how good of a skill, how difficult of a skill is pulling flags, as an example? I could tell you from coaching kids that was the hardest thing to teach them.
Correct. I would just think, just pro athletes, just no matter what they do, they just seem so much better when it comes to sports stuff.
I feel like there's plenty of NBA players who could be really good at flag football.
But again, it's a professional. So I don't know. It's going to be fun to find out.
What if you were a college receiver, but you didn't make it in the NFL?
Okay, well, there's an example. Yeah.
You're fast, but you can't get off press. You're not strong. You don't really have to be strong to be a receiver.
You're not an NFL caliber player, but you played college ball and you're better than the average person.
You're fast and quick. Your hands are fine.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm kind of having a hard time envisioning that there's going to be a flag football dream team in our future.
Yeah.
But it would be cool if there was.
Well, would it? Because I always kind of feel like with hockey and professional players and basketball, I don't know. I always thought the Olympics, old school in here, it's for the amateurs.
Yeah, you said that last week.
Yeah, I still believe that. So.
Okay.
But we'll have to wait and see. Now, my question to you is, do they put flag football in the Olympics if it's like in Japan or someplace that doesn't play American football, that their first time they're bringing it is?
But it's in L.A.
I know. That's what my question. They're bringing it when it's here in L.A. Would they bring it in if it was in another country?
I don't know. You'd have to go look back and look at the history of sports being added,
and when?
I don't really know much about the Olympics in that regard.
Just a thought.
So, did you see our injury report?
Today's?
I mean, it's pretty similar to yesterday's, except that Chris Godwin and Baker Mayfield are both limited instead of did not. I think they'll be fine.
I think you have to list that stuff, so I kind of feel like
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about Vita, who did not participate in practice today. Although it really was just a walkthrough, but now he's listed with a groin injury. He has previously been on with a foot injury,
right,
and then calf, right. So far this season, he's already had 3 different injuries that have put him on the injury report and made him questionable for games.
Right,
that's a bit concerning to me.
Right,
and this groin one, so he was questionable last week because of foot.
Yeah,
but he's not listed as a foot, so he's overcome the foot, but now he has a groin injury.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you can say, I feel pretty good, and then get in, and then it pops up on you.
Like a hamstring.
Right.
So, Kayvon Merriweather's on here, too. He's the only one who really left the game. It was an ankle injury. Mm-hmm. He did not participate today.
Yeah.
I really like the name Kayvon.
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
Do you?
I like the way it's spelled, too. Kaevon. Kayvon. Kayvon. That's a cool name.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't think anybody's going to feel 100% coming into this game.
On a Thursday night.
You're just kind of hoping. And you know what? The Bills have the same issue. You can't
Except they didn't have to travel.
That's true. They didn't have to travel.
We have to point out that the Bills have Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano, and Daquan Jones all on injured reserve. And then their tight end Dawson Knox is going to – I think he's going to have surgery this week, so he won't be playing.
Right.
Josh Allen has been on their injury report for most of the weeks.
Yeah.
So they're a little banged up too. You have to point that out. Von Miller has returned. He missed I think the first 4 games.
Did he return? I thought he was back on the injury report.
No, he's on the injury report.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't play I think he was on reserve PUP, so he didn't play the first 4 games because he was still recovering from his knee injury from last November. Mm-hmm. He's back now, but they've really eased him in. He's only playing like a quarter of the snaps through the first 3 games. And then Ed Oliver's on the list, and he's probably their best defensive player this year. He's having an amazing season. The defensive tackle who was a first-round pick 5 years ago.
I've watched the Bills on a couple of games, and I don't know which team it is. I've seen them play really, really well, and holy smokes, this is going to be tough. And then I've seen them play where you kind of go, wow, okay, who knows? But
I couldn't believe they lost to New England.
Yeah, but again, we're back to it's week to week. You just don't know. And if you go in thinking that you don't need to pay attention to any particular team, you're going to be surprised. And Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions made a comment that maybe it was good that they had a butt whipping to kind of bring them down
He's
to
like,
earth.
you don't want it.
No.
But sometimes it can.
It makes you go, holy
it makes
smokes.
you focus and concentrate.
Yeah, no matter, don't believe those press clippings.
For years now, the Bills tend to lose really close games, and when they win, they just blow people out.
Oh, boy.
They in 3 consecutive weeks this year, they beat the Raiders 38-10, the Commanders 37-3, and then the Dolphins, who were coming off a 70-point game, 48-20.
Right.
But then in the last 3 weeks, they've lost a one-score game to Jacksonville and a one-score game to New England. Now, in between, they did win a one-score game against the Giants, but that was the game where there was the questionable no call on what might have been pass interference on the last play of the game.
Yeah, and that was the question is, you're going to keep doing pass interference and let them make the call because it's not a touchdown until they get tired of calling pass interference.
Which only took 2 plays.
Yeah. Because they did have a no time. Was it no time?
Yeah, it was an on-time down because they had gotten a pass interference call on the third down incompletion.
So, yeah.
Or previous incompletion. So the important thing to note here is in 2021, the Buffalo Bills led the NFL in point differential, which when it comes down to it is pretty much the stat you'd like to have.
Right.
You're scoring 10 more points on average than your opponents. You're winning most of your games, obviously. In 2021, they were first. In 2022, they were first. And if you think the Bills are struggling this year, well, they're still second in point differential.
Yeah.
So this is a really good team.
Right.
But that would make it a really good win if the Bucs got it.
Yeah.
And as you say, virtually every week, there's a game every week that makes you go, what?
Yeah.
That team beat that team?
I know. It's crazy. But you know what? That's what makes the NFL fun.
The Patriots were way down, worse, very bad vibes, worse than us, and then they beat the Bills.
Yeah, and they were winning. Then the Bills took over, and you go, oh yeah, it was just a matter of time before the Bills won. And then our game's over with, and someone goes, wow, did you see New England beat the Bills? I go, no, the score was, and they go, no, they came back.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy. What else?
Probably demolished a lot of people in survivor pools around the country.
No question.
I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else.
No? Okay.
See, blah, 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 blah.
And we're not going to have a player because it is a short week.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
And it's a hard go.
They have so much to do in so little time that we weren't going to ask them to.
Well, not only that, the times keep changing because depending on what's going on, practice got moved a little bit.
It's a really windy day today.
Yeah, it's very windy. I know. I saw you go outside and rescue an umbrella, and then I did the same thing.
That's good.
There was one
We're
down.
good employees.
It actually left the table.
Oh man!
And I was like, that's probably not very good.
That's what I thought was going to happen with the one I tied up.
And I looked at it, and I looked over, and I was like, oh, that umbrella is going to fly away. And then I took a bite of my apple, and I went, you know what? Just go take care of it. And I did. I cranked it down and then put it back in and tied it.
Did you have like caramel sauce on your apple?
I did not. I just had just the green apples. Whatever it was in.
You could have put caramel sauce on it.
I could have put chocolate sauce.
Could have put peanut butter drizzle.
Yeah,
You didn't do any of those things?
Nothing. Just green apple.
Man, that's a missed opportunity there.
No, it's...
I love Granny Smith apples, but
that's
you
why
can
I went
drizzle
for it.
a little caramel on it.
I know, but if I did that, then I would have to put M&Ms on it, and I'd have to put sprinkles on it, and and then the next thing you know, it's not healthy for you.
All right, I got 2 more things I've jotted down.
Okay.
Some of this was from Thursday night.
All right.
Some of it was during our game. This one, I was looking at the schedule. There were 6 buys this past week, which you don't care, but that made it really hard on fantasy football players. But
it's funny. I had that discussion last night about that. Is that we're how many buys there were?
Yeah.
Just like when we took a buy, I think it was us and another team. Yeah.
It's weird that it changes from week to week.
Yeah.
For fantasy
it's
players,
killer, right? It's killer, right?
They tend to call those weeks the buypocalypse.
Ooh.
It really, really killed one of my teams. I had like 7 guys on a buy. So, weirdly though, there's no buys at all this week.
Really?
No buys.
Why?
Is that normal?
That doesn't make sense.
There's not a single buy this week.
So why put our buy early if there's no buy this week?
Well, you have to schedule all the games. Maybe it didn't work. It wouldn't work to move New Orleans.
I see. Yeah. All right.
I thought that was weird. And then the last note that I have is, and I already knew this a little bit about the Vikings, but then I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about it. You know how Todd Bowles likes the blitz, right?
Right.
it ain't nothing like what Brian Flores is doing.
No.
Brian Flores went up there to Minnesota, and I guess maybe just looked at – they weren't considered to have very good defensive personnel.
Right.
They have a couple good players like Harrison Smith and Daniil Hunter. And maybe just like, okay, we're just gonna throw blitzes at everybody all the time. So you think the Bucs blitz a lot, right?
Yeah,
and they do. It's around 41% of the time. The Vikings are blitzing on 57% of their defensive snaps.
Wow. So, in other words, when they don't blitz, you're shocked.
Well, it's funny you should say that because they lead the league in blitz percentage. They lead the league in number of time in percentage of plays where they send 7 after the quarterback.
Wow.
They lead the league in the number of times they send 6, but they also lead the league in the number of plays where they only send 3 and drop 8. So pretty much Brian Flores is always either blitzing or then all of a sudden not blitzing at all, and then the quarterback's like, I thought it was going to be a blitz, and now everybody's covered.
Yeah.
I just think that, but it worked.
That's interesting.
They just beat San Fran, whose offense had looked unstoppable for much of the season.
Yeah, Purdy threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter.
Yep. So pretty amazing stuff, really, if you ask me.
I like it. Well,
that's all I got.
Just goes to show you, no matter what offense you have, there's a defensive coordinator trying to tear it apart, and then there's an offensive coordinator that's finding the cracks in your defense.
Yeah, and there's some teams some coordinators that just tend to be really good against certain types of offense.
Oh, and also it helps if you have really good players. So there is that, too.
All right, you want to answer the fans' questions?
Sure, why not?
There's not a lot this week. I guess people were just not motivated.
Well, maybe you should give the email address.
If you want to send us emails, which we love when you do, send it to saltydogs@buccaneers.nfl.com.
Good.
Don't forget the .nfl part in the middle.
I shall not.
Well, I wasn't talking to you.
Oh.
So, yeah, we love your questions. I can understand we didn't get a lot this week. People were less excited.
Yeah, and they're a little down.
All right, this one's from our friend in Australia. We're going to meet later this season, Elliot Lovejoy.
Yeah.
Hello, boys. Hope you're both doing well.
We are.
Already thinking of your late work nights coming up for the Buffalo game. Thank you. That's nice of you.
Yeah. It's not so much the late night. It's Friday morning that's going to be hard.
Friday morning?
Yeah. Because we don't get in until like 4:30, and then there's a 10 o'clock press conference.
I won't be there.
Oh, that's right. You're traveling.
I
forgot.
I would have completely not worked a Bucs game for the first time since 1993 if this game had been on Sunday, because my sister's getting married in St. Louis.
And I appreciate you missing a game.
I've known that for like a year and a half, and I told my boss,
hey, this is the way it is.
And she was talking about having it in the fall. And she said, do you know like when your bye week would be? He's like, maybe they plan like we don't know that until May of the year that year. And so I'm like, don't worry about it. It's your wedding scheduled for whenever you want, and I will be there. I'm not going to not go to my sister's wedding.
Yeah, but see, that's how you know it's supposed to happen.
So what happens is the schedule comes out, and so it's this Saturday, which is October 20th, and I was hoping it would be the bye week. Schedule comes out, it's not the bye week, but it's Thursday.
Right.
So I still can go and work the game and then fly from Buffalo to St. Louis the next morning.
Yeah, that happened. Well, it happened twice with my goddaughter. She was going to get married it was before COVID, but it happened to be the fall of COVID of 2020. And we would have been in New York on a Monday night, and she was getting married on a Saturday. So it would have been absolutely perfect. I would have been able to go to the dinner on Friday, everything, right? COVID happened. She decided that, no, she doesn't want to get married during COVID. So she did. The following year, she decides that she's getting married. Of course, it falls there. And we end up having a 4:25 game on a Sunday. So I flew a red eye back and made it for the game. Yeah. So I flew all night, got in around 6 o'clock in the morning.
I suppose that could have been an option for me if we'd had a game on Sunday.
Yeah, you could red eye it.
I wouldn't have wanted to, though.
No,
because I would have wanted to celebrate late into the evening.
I did. That was an 11 o'clock flight. There was off we go. But no, it is. That's very important, and I think that's the hardest part about doing this. And families, and a lot of people give up a lot of things because they do this. And this isn't poor us. We make this choice, but family members who aren't making the choice because I make the choice don't always understand.
Yes. We all have husbands or wives who know that like. We're not taking a vacation from August through at least December. Probably not January either, because you can't plan it and then all of a sudden you're in the playoffs.
To this day, my brother still has no idea why I can't come for Christmas.
Yeah, I've been home for.
He's not a big sports guy.
I mean, this is home for me now, but
Yeah.
when I thought of St. Louis's home, I think I made it home for maybe one.
Yeah.
We had a game in St. Louis.
And then it's like anything else. You learn to celebrate holidays and stuff like that on a day that's best for your family, and it's not necessarily a specific day that you need to celebrate. It's when you're with your family, that's
Right.
when you celebrate.
Yeah. So,
But no, good. Well, that's great.
yeah, I have to give a toast.
So, did you write it?
I haven't written anything down other than some notes, but I have the structure of it mostly in my head. She's marrying a guy who grew up in Chicago and is a big Bears fan.
Oh,
So I have a Bears-related joke in there, but I'm not going to spoil it. Just in
Okay,
case a
so he
family
listens?
member listens. I don't think anybody in my family has ever listened to a Salty Dogs
Right,
podcast,
right.
including my wife. But just in case.
didn't you?
I'll tell you about it next week.
Did you do some other writing? But maybe you don't want to talk about that. I thought you did some other writing for the wedding.
Oh, my sister
Uh-huh.
just asked me if I would look over her vows
See, I think that's so cool.
because they're writing their own vows.
Uh-huh.
As it turned out.
So basically, your sister and you are writing her vows.
No, as it turned out, and this is what I expected because
Okay.
my sister's very, very smart.
Uh-huh.
It was very nice for her to think my brother is a professional
Your work,
writer.
yeah.
Maybe he could look this over.
He can spruce it up.
And I've done a lot of editing in my life too.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes, you
she
have.
sent it to me, and as I expected, it was already really good. I didn't have to change those. I bounced a
Nice.
couple ideas
Yeah.
off her, and she I
Yeah.
think you're right about that. So I'll make that little change. But it was this. I didn't change anything of substance.
Great.
She did perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week to hear about this.
I will tell you. I will tell you the high points and hopefully no low points of
No,
the toast.
It'll be all good, and that's what we like.
Come on.
So his question was
Oh.
our late night. So
No, that's not the question, but go ahead.
I took us off the track because I was saying it's not the late night; it's the early Friday morning. That's going to be tough.
Well, it
But
won't
continue.
I won't be working on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's tomorrow that's tough because the travel in the middle.
Yeah, today's tough because of getting everything done, hopefully. So when I come in tomorrow morning, I'm more at looking at everything and saying everything's in place, double check everything. But yeah.
My content manager took a few things off my usual weekly plate.
Wow.
So it's if it's not sponsored, because a lot of these stories are sponsored.
Sure.
If it's not sponsored,
You don't have to.
we can choose not to do it a certain week. We wouldn't normally choose that because we want to give the fans as much
Yeah.
content as possible and get
Right.
traffic numbers and everything. But you can take a few things out.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot. Anyway, Ellie's question is actually, I was watching some old tape this week,
Wow.
and forgot what a phenomenal start Kendall Beckwith had with the Bucs before that horrendous injury. Do you guys know what he's up to these days? Hope life after football has been kind to him.
Wow.
So.
Did you research this?
Well, a little. That means that Elliot here was watching tape of football games, Bucs games in 2017
Wow.
or something?
Yeah.
2000
Something like that, 'cause
2017. That was the only year he actually played.
Didn't he hurt his foot in a car accident?
Ankle. So here's what it is. He was drafted out of LSU in the third round. Probably would have been a little bit higher, but he had suffered, I think, a knee injury late in his final season at LSU. So most people during the draft, most teams did not think he would be ready for the start of the season. So it was a pretty big story when he not only was ready to play, but had won a starting job. Mm-hmm. And it was. Elliot's exactly right. He had that was impressive just to begin with, and then he had a really nice rookie season. And then in the following off season in April or May, back in Baton Rouge, I think, he was in a car accident and suffered a pretty bad ankle injury and didn't know it at the time, but as it eventually became clear that it was career ending. He actually spent over a year on our PUP or NFI list, probably NFI, which means non-football injury. His career, he never did play again, never played again.
Wow.
He did at one point return to practice and during the season, which made you think, okay, he's got a shot to play. But then he didn't get activated and never played again. But the question by Elliot is, what has he done since?
Yeah.
I looked around as much as I could with Google. I'm not really a good sleuth when it comes to finding stuff like this. So where are they now?
Yeah.
I'm not particularly good at it. I tried for a while. I didn't find much. Mostly articles about Kindle are back from when he was still with us.
Correct.
I did find one article from like 2021 or something where he was speaking to students on a Zoom call. So 20 or 21. That would seem to indicate to me, and it was LSU, that would seem to indicate to me that he was in a good place because I don't think LSU would want him to talk to students if his life was going badly or if he was doing things that would not
he wasn't on the police blotter.
And then I saw one more, and if it's the same Kendall Beckwith, it was about him getting married. So
hopefully
this was the same Kendall Beckwith. Those two things are both positive. It's the only two things I've found. I mean, maybe if I'd put more time into it, maybe HR would know or something.
Right.
But I those little two pieces of information make me hopeful that things are going well for Kendall.
Why was he watching film back then?
I don't know. He's watching film of Bucs games in 2017.
All right.
That's dedication as a fan right there.
Yeah, either that or he needs to get a life. Just saying.
Come on, man. We're going to meet this guy.
I understand.
He's going to shake my hand and then just look at you.
I'm just going to tell him Scott really said that.
Yeah. Well, you have a pretty distinctive voice, John.
Keep going.
It's another international one, another guy we talk to all the time.
Okay.
And you know who I'm going to say. Alexander from Brazil. Ahoy, salty ones. I hope this finds you both well, and I believe extra salty. I know I am. Mm-hmm. However, let me start it off thanking you guys for bringing in the guests I suggested. He had suggested that we get Levante before the throwback game, since Levante was the only one who previously had worn it.
That's right. We did follow his lead.
I actually, when I asked Levante, I had totally forgotten that
someone requested
that Alexander requested him. But yeah, I did that because you asked, Alexander. Yeah. We're a full service crew here.
Yeah.
A week after, and totally by chance, but a person can dream, right? That's what he said. So he's right. It was by chance. We were very appreciative of Levante because we don't ask the big guns very often, you know.
Yeah, but we ambushed
every
him.
now and then. We ambushed him at the dinner.
We waited until he was done eating. I kept looking. Yeah, he's done.
Then we both sat down and he kind of double take.
Yeah, we both sit down and he goes, "What?" which is.
And then he did a great interview.
Which in football land, that's a very welcoming. I'm glad you're sitting down with us.
On flag football being an Olympic sport, this is a continuation of the email. I am thrilled. It will make a huge difference for the sport worldwide, and I hope your national team doesn't let NFL players compete because I would feel really bad for the guys who play flag football and would miss the opportunity. The thing is that there's not really professional flag football leagues.
No.
At least there isn't right now.
Not yet.
I don't know, man. I think you could find interest in that. I mean, at the same level as, say, like lacrosse.
Sure.
There's professional lacrosse, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's professional. I mean, you can go to college and do it.
I think there's professional lacrosse leagues. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Now, about the game, which I guess it means what makes me extra salty was all the talk about being angry, more focused during the week, especially on offense, and then delivering what we saw on Sunday. It was not supposed to be close. If they fumble 3 times in the red zone, I believe we should be up at least 1 score on the last drive. We are running out of time to start playing better on offense. Since you did, thanks for reading, Alexander in Brazil. You know, Alexander's emails are usually really sunny.
Yeah.
So for him to get a little salty there.
Yeah, it's starting to affect him. Must be the altitude.
Well, I'm just saying if he's getting a little salty, there's got to be a lot of people out there that are.
Maybe it's just because you just expect more.
I don't just.
And you just, I guess you just feel like the team hasn't played as good as they can, and it not like playing over their heads. We've seen them play, and we haven't seen it since. I would say New Orleans was the last
that was
time.
the most complete game for sure.
Yes. So, you're looking at your phone.
Just briefly.
Okay.
Okay, Alexander, we get it.
Yep.
Hopefully you can.
Hopefully on next week, you
won't be as salty.
Yes, you'll be. It'll be all. Sunshine.
We do need that game where the offense really comes together and does what they think they can do, and I think it's going to have to involve being able to run the ball a little bit.
No question.
All right, finally.
All right.
Okay, I told you about this one earlier today.
You mentioned it to me.
I asked you if you wanted me to go.
I don't know anything about it, but you mentioned.
Well, I
it
told
to me.
you.
Yeah, you told me what the.
I asked you if it was okay for me to read this.
Yes.
One, because this isn't this. I don't think this person is joking. And she's got some harsh words for you. You sure you want to do this?
Let's do it.
All right. It's from Peg. I mean, it's nice that Peg is listening to our podcast.
Right.
I like that.
Okay.
Good morning, Scott. I listened to the podcast.
Oh, wait. Good morning, Scott.
So you'll see why.
She's just directing it to you.
Right.
Go ahead.
You'll see why.
All right.
I listened to the podcast last week, and I couldn't help but notice Jeff's rude attitude. I understand your annoyance at feeling his lack of interest in your effort for the podcast. It is true that now that the phone is present in all the time, but as he says, if you don't see your cell phone while driving, you shouldn't do it when you're trying to reach your listeners. I should interject here that this is because Jeff might get an email-related text. I mean, a work-related text or email while we're doing this, and he's got his phone in front of him, as do I. I have my phone in front of me. And when I'm scolding him for that, I'm not serious. It doesn't actually bother me. I'm just joking.
I'm sorry. I was looking at my phone.
He was not. He was staring out the window. But it has struck this listener as if you are being rude to me. So let me continue. At times, you can feel that he is nothing more than a person forced to be there. I think you actually enjoy doing this, don't you?
Well, yeah, or I wouldn't do it.
It is also possible that now she talked to me, that you are not giving him the space to express himself naturally. I talk a lot more than you do on this podcast. Yeah. I think that's true. But,
well, that's because you have stats and things of that nature that people enjoy. You write a lot of stuff. So
the radio is a way to reach listeners in a personal way, and to my feelings, that's what is missing. His lack of interest is not only offensive to you, but to those of us who listen to the podcast. Perhaps he got used to his desk and his days of reaching listeners through the radio are already forgotten.
Maybe.
But you do still work in radio. I guess you mean to when you're a DJ. Yeah. Good luck in solving the differences that a team requires in any way. And if it doesn't work, sometimes we must look for someone who wants to grow with us. Mm-hmm. So I guess I need to reevaluate if I want to keep doing this with you.
I got to reevaluate if I want her as a listener.
Oh, Jeff, come on.
No, I'm serious right now.
You're not.
I'm trying to relate. Seriously. Here's the funny part about it. Totally respect what she's saying.
Right.
Totally respect that she took the time to write.
Exactly.
However,
don't necessarily agree.
No, it's not that at all. However, I got you to react. The biggest thing when you do these shows is to make you care.
Yeah.
To make you react. So when Scott and I are going at each other, that's what we do. That's part of the fun. It's not personal. Now, did Scott overreact when I was looking at my phone? Yes. Did I take offense to that? No, because I know it's Scott. And he is passionate. You are
the guy who can't reach the cough button.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying. And no, I do enjoy doing this. There are times, though, her name's Peg. Mm-hmm. There are times, Peg, that in my job, I am on call, basically. Now, I will only answer certain things depending on who's sending it and if it's important. That particular instance, I needed to reply right away. Scott was in a role of a lot of statistics. He was on his role. At that point, that's when I back up and not talk so that you, the listener, can get all this great information. So that's when I was looking at my phone, and I had to answer it, and it was a text, and it was from my boss, and it was above boss.
Yeah.
So
I just and I've done this on several occasions.
Sure.
And in those occasions, I always just thought it was kind of maybe a little bit funny that I would be scolding you about being on your phone.
I love that. That's the best part about it.
And we get from some other emails that we get from Bucs fans who listen to this podcast, we can tell that actually some fans enjoy the part where we are disagreeing and squabbling a little bit.
Right.
So, Peg, if it helps, he's not done anything that actually has offended me. I hear you, on the other hand, though, that you as a listener don't like it.
Right.
So I'll retire that particular joke because you wouldn't know that Jeff was looking at his phone if I didn't say anything.
No, but here's the thing. When you hear stuff from us, this is not scripted. Okay.
Obviously.
Scott made a comment to me today. He said, "Hey, I got an email, and it's really not nice about you." And I said, "Let's read it." And he goes, "No, seriously." And I said, "No, it's fine." Here's the thing. This is not scripted at all. Usually Scott just says to me, "Hey, are you ready to go?" And I say yes.
I take some notes and prepare a little bit.
And so do I, but I don't have to lay it out. I have certain things that I want to talk about, and I wait until I get my opening to throw it in. But I do find it interesting that the title of the podcast is Salty Dogs, and you're upset because we're being salty. But I love the fact that you took the time, Peg, to write, and I want to say thank you. You don't have to agree, but I will say this. It's not because I don't care. Now, am I going to work harder? oh, Peg, please spend a little more time with the Salty Dogs, and I will try to be a little
Well, I
nicer.
just said I'll retire that joke because if that's striking
No.
some people that I'm actually offended by anything you're doing, I'm not.
But Scott, that is a natural reaction. That's why I love this show, is because I don't know which way it's going to go. Right? We
Yeah.
never know.
We've been doing this for what, 6 years now?
Something like that. Right.
And when we first, it was me because in the job I'm in, I do create content for the team, and so it was me. I had to come up with a podcast idea, and I'm like, I don't want to do a podcast by myself.
That's true.
So who am I going to do it with?
You did come to me.
And
by the way, he came to me.
I did. I thought, would Jeff work? Jeff would work. I mean, everybody loves his voice, so we got that.
Apparently not.
Hey, by the way, Jeff's right. This is totally unscripted, and as we constantly go off on tangents and forget where we started from.
Sure.
That's just the way we do this show. If you would like a structured podcast, in addition to ours, don't leave ours for this one, but in addition to listening to ours, if you would like a structured show about the Bucs where they have specific topics that they prepare for in advance and hit with a lot of good detail, listen to the Tampa 2 with Casey Phillips and Bree Dix. And they generally do that at the end of the week, and it's really good. I actually watched last week's when I was at home on Saturday, and it's really good, and it's really good information. They both prepare quite a bit, and they might do like who's your, I don't know, I'm making this up, but what's the key matchup in this game? And they'll both have an answer for it, and they'll have like 5 or 6 different topics that they planned ahead and research. So if you would like to hear that kind of podcast, please add that to your list, but don't leave us.
No, but I love the fact that she took the time to write.
Well, she was trying to help me.
Well, I know, but
that's what I'm saying. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing, and that apparently I don't relate to her, and she relates to you, which is nice because you don't have to relate to both of us.
Well, she thought you were being disrespectful to me. I know that you're not.
Well,
but that's the way it sounded to her, which is fine.
Correct. Yeah. Well, you did say if you don't want to be here, you can just go out the door. You did say that.
I took the joke a little too far.
You kind of, if you go back and listen to it, I was not the one ranting and raving, Peg.
However, you have to admit something now.
Oh, I was wrong. You did say 1992, not 82. Not only did you say it twice, 92.
Every time I thought I said 92, I said 92. When you thought I was saying 82.
That's correct.
And you went back and listened to it, and you were wrong.
And I yelled out my office door. You came and told me. Yeah. I said, Scott, you were right. And you just glowed.
Our offices, are next to each other. Usually when you go back and listen to it to prove that you were right, you have ended up being right. So it was nice for me to be right this time.
Sure.
Our offices are actually right next to each other.
Believe it or not, Scott and I have known each other for a very, very long time, and
30.
Some years.
32,
You were right.
31 years.
And I watched his son Alex grow up.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Peg, this is how much Scott trusts me. He let me keep an eye on his son when he had to work at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you and Linda.
You needed to go somewhere, and you asked me and said, hey, will you guys keep an eye on him? So if someone's going to entrust me with their children, I feel that's pretty
that's pretty good.
Either they're really bad parents, but, no,
how old was he then?
Oh, he was only
was that 2013?
Yeah, something like that. And
was it the SAP one?
Yeah, and in fact, I took him to, we walked through the Hall of Fame together.
So he would have been about 10 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Because he's 20 now.
Yeah, hard to believe. But again, I'm very, very pleased that you took the time to write, and I kid with you, but I will work on my personal skills.
I get to see Alex this weekend.
Yeah, you are excited. Oh, and Alex's new girlfriend.
He's bringing his girlfriend.
Yeah.
How about that? He has met their parents, her parents, I should say. And how about that? She's signing up not just to meet Alex's parents for a dinner.
She's meeting the whole family.
Well, and also she's spending an entire weekend with Alex's parents.
Either this is going to be one of the best relationships ever, or it's over with on Monday.
Giselle and I better be on our best behavior so as to not cramp his style.
When you meet someone he's dating, do you?
Well, it's only happened one time.
I know, but do you? Do you think about that? Like, I need to be on my best behavior?
I'm not worried about it because Giselle and I are always nice to his friends.
And definitely Giselle is always very nice.
Well, she's nice to everybody all the time.
Yes, long time. Okay. All right. Thank you for your critique.
Yeah.
I have a very thick skin, so I'm good.
So, Jeff, we just, from here on forth, we need to prove that we are willing to grow with each other.
We are growing. We are.
The other part of this is you don't know how many times during the week, especially in the dining room, that we have discussions about certain topics. And, sometimes Jeff will be wildly wrong, and I'll have to show him why. And so we have these kinds of discussions about other things all the time.
Yeah.
I was kidding on that one, too.
No, I understand. Well, no, see, now this is the thing. We don't have to say we're kidding. This is just, you take it for what it is.
Well, okay, if it's not kidding, which sometimes is kidding, it's just non-serious.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing that would ever offend you.
No,
or me.
no, not at all. I don't get offended very easily.
Sometimes you'll make a point at the lunch table that I'll be like, what? And I'll look right at you and go, what are you talking about?
Yeah. But
sometimes they're right, but
yeah, but sometimes I totally enjoy cranking you up because
no kidding,
you are the best when you're cranked. So that's where we
I'm trying
live.
to think of a recent example.
I don't know. It's just, hey, listen, it is what it is. Again, I appreciate everybody's letters, and you know what? We proved a point. We're not just looking for everyone to say, hey, love your podcast, this or that.
Tell us what you think.
And you know what?
Or that you love the Buccaneers every week.
Yeah, and everybody hears things. And they're not wrong the way they hear it because you can't tell people how they feel.
Well, and if it's considered a piece of entertainment, then we did not succeed with this particular fan.
Correct.
With what we did. It did not entertain her.
No. But it was enough that we touched her enough for her to write.
Well, I'm just glad she listened to the podcast.
Yeah. Well, there's
cool.
that, right?
That's pretty cool.
All right. And I hope she continues. And
yeah, please keep listening.
Maybe she can continue and give us like a month of listening, and then maybe she can decide whether she's more comfortable with it.
Maybe knowing that I'm not actually upset with you for looking at your phone, and that you actually kind of have to do it from time to time.
I do. And I don't.
It'll make it less offensive.
I think sometimes people, we spend an hour and a half doing this, and between the two of us, we try to have the same time every Tuesday. We try to do it, but sometimes it gets really crazy, and the rest of the office doesn't stop because we're doing Salty Dogs. So there's that.
Yeah, there have been times when the injury report has come out while we're in the middle.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to shoot off a couple emails.
Sure.
Change a few things on the website.
But you're right. We should give, you know what? We should give our audience our complete, undivided attention.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to Did you like that?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is...
Did that sound sincere?
No, not at all.
Okay.
The thing about it is if I just stop with that particular joke, they'll never know when you're not paying attention to me. So they can believe in their minds that you are rapidly...
I'm sorry, what was that you said?
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. So,
if you want to just let me talk to myself for 5 minutes every now and then.
You do that. Listen, I am next to Scott's office. Scott laughs at more stuff, and I know he's listening to something. But
the podcast.
Yes, but Scott does talk to himself out loud.
And sing too.
You do.
I sing to myself.
You sing. You put a song in my head the other day.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it.
It was. What was it?
I don't know because I don't want it in my head again. I'm just saying because we walking upstairs and I was singing the song and I was like, "Damn you, Scott." Okay.
I'm always singing.
Yes. You got anything else? Are we going to shuffle off to Buffalo? Yes, we are.
And then St. Louis for me.
All right. Very good. Safe travels. Since you did, thanks for listening.